Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I'm not here with Geeky Sparkles in this video. She's still not feeling 100%. She did get through a couple of videos yesterday. I think she heard her voice a little bit, but we're going to talk about something fairly disturbing in regards to Disney. So if you have a high sensitivity to hearing anything about underage people being abused, you may want to sit this episode out. It's really disgusting. It's really foul. It's making headlines all over the place. There was a Disney Pixar animator, a guy who was pretty well known in the industry, and he'd worked in the industry for decades, who was sentenced to prison, 25 years in prison for abuse of children. And I mean, it's not just like actually physically abusing minors, but he also paid women to do horrible things to children on live streams. It's really, really foul. And I'm going to try to be as, I guess, YouTube safe as I can. As a dad, I'm just absolutely disgusted by this. This is not going to help Disney's image when it comes to being accused of being groomers, right? I mean, this is like everybody was joking about Disney and the PDF files and here we have a guy that worked for them for decades, not just Disney, but also DreamWorks. And apparently nobody did a background check. I mean, nobody knew, because this guy was actually on the French sex offenders list on the registry. And it's really gross, guys. So just be aware. This one's a little bit dicey. Please tune out if it's going to bother you. I think it's probably a good thing that Geeky is not sitting in on this video. I think she had a hard time writing the article, which is on Pirates and Princesses, but actually is making the rounds now. Cartoon Brew put it up earlier today, and here's the thing. This is like an ongoing issue, isn't it? With a lot of children's entertainment. Of course, if you have a thing for kids or you're predisposed to wanting to abuse children or do other things with children, sometimes these people do work in close proximity to children. And that would include, children's entertainment. Just over the summer, they busted a guy from Cartoon Network, Kyle Carrozza, I guess. He was a guy who created Mighty Magiswords. He got busted for having child, literally PDF files on his computer. Now we've got this guy too. And there are many. This is back in March. Nickelodeon hired or worked with 5 accused child molesters. There was the one woman actually who, I think she worked on that one Netflix show. I don't remember her name off the top of my head. But I think we discussed her before, and she was stalking a 14-year-old boy and bragging about it on Tumblr. Like, yeah, I mean, children's entertainment is a magnet for these kinds of people. They really need to vet who they're working with and who's working for them. And oopsie doopsie, they didn't check his background, but he worked on several Disney and Pixar productions. And he still was working for them as of a couple of years ago. Geeky dug into it a little bit. He worked on Elemental. He worked on Soul. He worked on How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, Incredibles 2, Dear Basketball, Walt Disney Animation Studios Short Film Collection, Luca, Tales of Arcadia, storyboard. He was a storyboard artist, animator. Let's see. We have Troll Hunters, storyboard artist, Asterix and Obelix, storyboard artist, How to Train Your Dragon 2, story artist. Yeah, so he's been around for a while, and apparently his resume goes back to the 90s. So this comes from Cartoon Brew. I'll go with their version of it. I think it's probably not as graphic. Geeky does have an article on piratesandprincesses.net, but it's pretty gross, guys. It's pretty gross. This is Bolhem Bouchiba. A key animator at Disney and Pixar for decades, has been sentenced to 25 years in prison. In a Paris court, he admitted to a horrific series of crimes, which included ordering abuse and torture of young girls in the Philippines, In addition to his sentence, the court ordered 20 years of socio-judicial monitoring, the obligation to compensate civil parties, and a permanent ban on working in a profession with minors. If he lives to the end of his sentence, he's going to be 84 years old. So this guy's almost 60. In a closing statement to the court, he said, "I'm aware of everything I have done. I ask the victims for forgiveness." Bouchiba also said during his trial he was looking forward to the benefits of prison. Oh boy, what are you talking about? Specifically meaning that he would not be tempted to abuse children while behind bars. Oh, don't worry. What goes around comes around, especially if you're into that sort of thing. They don't tolerate that in prison usually. Said per an English auto translation of the Le Monde story for 3 days, several experts testified at the bar detailing the story of this man who became an international drawing authority. According to the president of the court, but with a complex past and disturbed sexuality. That is putting it mildly. During his interrogation, the accused spontaneously admitted to being guilty of all the facts alleged and highlighted the benefits of prison in his journey to redemption. For 3 years, I did not... Wow. Okay, he did not touch his pencil while thinking about children. Holy God! The piece is further details on the trial. Cartoon Brew is limiting the amount of detail it shares about his crimes. Yeah, it's horrifying. I am not going to go into detail in this video. You can find the details out there. It goes beyond just, oh, hey, I had some dirty stuff on my hard drive, or I'm tempted by it. It involves violence. It involves weapons. It involves paying parents to torture their children, and he pays for this. He paid for it with Disney money. I mean, what the actual fuck? I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand why this guy worked for them for a long time, and nobody knew. And I agree with Cartoon Brew in this. Or like a significant question that remains unanswered is why he was continually hired at major American film studios like Pixar and DreamWorks, even after he was placed on the France National Sex Offender Registry in 2014 for assaulting his partner's daughter. So 10 years ago, he apparently did stuff in the flesh, and they never checked. Geeky was talking about this. She, some of you know, she's a teacher. And she's like, Pennsylvania especially, we have to, or she has to go through, a lot of background checks mostly because of what happened at Penn State a few years ago. But, they're pretty strict about that. I'm just like, are they not checking? This happened on their cruise ships too. They actually had people. Now there it's a little weirder because you're hiring people from outside the country and a lot of times, but like they never checked, and there were people reportedly on the cruise ships that were harming children. And this guy worked for Disney again for decades. Wow. Okay, so they have this picture because there's his name right there, Bouchiba Spaghetti. So he was important enough to Ratatouille that they put his name on a box of spaghetti. And nobody caught this. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. I mean, I guess they're thinking, well, we ran him through the sex registry here in the States, so good enough. But I'm like, the guy's from out of the country. You got to do your due diligence. They're like, for 10 years he's been on the list, and you still had him work on a bunch of stuff. They said following his arrest in 2014, projects in which he was involved include Soul, Incredibles 2, Luca, like all the major releases: Luca, Elemental, How to Train Your Dragon, Troll Hunters, Deer Basketball. Comments here. Pork Fried Tuna says, good riddance to a piece of shit. One Mike says, now they better be destroying that whole network of monsters. And Graggle says, seems like DeSantis got vindicated. Yeah, people were downvoting that. But it's very hard to say that Disney does not enable groomers when you've got people like this working for the company. And again, like, look, I mean, they hire a lot of people, right? But this guy's a high enough profile that they put his name on a box of spaghetti. You're telling me that nobody in the entire time that he was with the company, nobody knew or had any inkling that this guy seemed a little obsessed with kids, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand how it got this far, unless there are other people at the company that were enabling, sharing interests. I have no idea. I really, truly do not have any idea. I will say that the majority of people that work at Disney and work in Disney animation are good people. And you don't know everybody you're working with, right? I mean, people don't know everybody that works in every department. That's true of every company, but like, God, seriously, all it takes is one headline like this to just do massive, massive damage to your company. And I can't imagine what those kids went through. Like, it's just seriously sick shit, just sick shit. But it seems like there's at least an effort now to try to expel these people from the industry. I think this has to happen. I mean, here's the thing, like, all the political blacklisting and all the shit that was going on in the animation industry, if you just focus that effort, that intensity on outing the PDF files in your company. I mean, seriously, that instead of, bitching about, your coworkers' politics or bitching about this or bitching about that or trying to cancel people for stupid, like John Lasseter, to this day, I still have no idea why he was canceled. He hugged people. I mean, we haven't had anything that I'm aware of like this come out, and hope to God that's where it stays. Just like, oh yeah, he just hugged people. It wasn't a big deal. But I mean, if there's one there doing this kind of stuff, it's very possible there are several. And, I don't know, guys. It's not a good look. I think this could be a result of partially of the the Dan Schneider effect, where now it's like, oh my God, there's a whole documentary on Dan Schneider. So now we got to go through the company and get rid of any people that might have, these kind of inclinations, sick inclinations. But yeah, I'm going to wrap this up. I don't know what else to say. I have no idea. I think it's probably good that Geeky was not in this video. We'll talk to you later.